Welcome. This is a series of videos to inform the public regarding the truth to history entitled Lies About the Formation of the United States of America. This is lesson number 1, Common Ground and Independence, September 5, 1774 through July 4, 1776, written by the Union States Assembly historian, and the video is presented by Union States Assembly. This information can also be found on the Union States Assembly website at www.unionstatesassembly.org. We will be doing a brief introduction of some of the basic facts you have not been taught about the formation of the United States of America by the public and private fool systems, which is where Americans get brainwashed and are told lies. In this lesson, we'll be looking at several documents, which are the Journals of the Continental Congress and the Declaration of Independence. These documents can be found on our website as well as at the Library of Congress. It is important to produce these documents in order to prove the truth of what Union States Assembly is presenting. Without such, this could be just another one of those internet speculation videos which many people believe is being true but provide no proof of such claims. Let's get started. First, let's lay the foundation. On September 5, 1774, delegates from the colonies and provinces in North America gathered in Philadelphia and held a Congress. The delegates were from the province of New Hampshire, the colony of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, the province of Massachusetts Bay, the colony of Connecticut, the city and county of New York, and other counties in the province of New York, from Newcastle, Kent, and Sussex on Delaware, from the county of Suffolk in the province of New York, the province of Maryland, the colony of New Jersey, the colony of Virginia, the province of Pennsylvania, the colony of South Carolina. My guess is that very few of you knew what colonies and or provinces existed at that time. That is why they are mentioned. Notice there are not 13 of them. The result of this Congress was the Articles of Association, which was read and signed on October 20, 1774 by delegates of New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island and Providence Plantations, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the lower counties Newcastle, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Notice there are only 12 and not 13. No one from Georgia is present, and Delaware is not a single entity. This can be found in the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 1, pages 13 through 24. The Articles of Association loosely bound the colonies and their provinces in that they represented an American viewpoint or ideals and forwarded their feelings and sentiments to King George III in Parliament. You can read the Articles of Association in the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 1, pages 75 through 80. They were hoping to gain recognition in the form of representation in Parliament, and the colonies and their provinces had many grievances with both King George III and Parliament which needed to be resolved. You see, they were still British subjects, but they had a unique American feeling about it. On October 25, 1774, a letter to King George III to address the grievances was read, reviewed, and agreed to by the Congress. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 1, page 104. On May 10, 1775, a number of delegates again met in Philadelphia to form a Congress. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 2, pages 11 through 12. The grievances have not been answered, and fighting had actually broken out on April 19 in Lexington, Massachusetts Bay. This time, the Congress forms to create a representative body among the colonies and or provinces for self-defense from King George III and Great Britain. Militias were raised and commanders were appointed, and additional fighting occurs. On July 6, 1775, a declaration to take up arms is agreed to and sent to King George III. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 2, pages 137 through 157. On July 20, 1775, a letter was received from the Convention of Georgia and read, setting forth that the colony had acceded to the General Association and appointed delegates to attend this Congress. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 2, pages 192 through 193. Now they were the 13 that most people can associate with, although Delaware was still not yet a single entity. The next day, Benjamin Franklin presented the first appearance of what would become the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union to the Committee of the Whole, or the full Congress. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 2, pages 195 through 201. Throughout the remainder of 1775 and for the first half of 1776, the fighting continued. The colonies and or provinces tried to elicit foreign countries to support them, either through arms or money. France was the one country with whom relations were the most important. On June 7, 1776, a resolution presented by Richard Henry Lee from Virginia changed the philosophy of everything forever. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 5, pages 425 through 426. His resolution is thus: Resolve that these united colonies are, and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, that it is expedient forthwith to take the most effectual measures for forming foreign alliances, that a plan of confederation be prepared and transmitted to the respective colonies for their consideration and approbation. Thus, for the first time, the colonies and or provinces are seeking more than just having their grievances addressed and resolved. They are no longer thinking as just British subjects, but now only as Americans with whom they have a common interest. It is of utmost importance to look at the written words being used and what they really mean. What the public and private full systems teach is not what those words meant then, but what they mean now. That is the difference between day and night, warm and cold, truth and lies, and honesty and deceit. Let's look at some of these phrases. The phrase free and independent states are four words that have profound implication of what the founders or framers were thinking. Another phrase, the state of Great Britain, has in it what they were proposing. They were proposing that each of the colonies and or provinces set themselves up as individual nations, in other words, states, and each to be on a par with the state of Great Britain, free, meaning sovereign, and not ruled by anyone but themselves, independent, meaning not only independent from Great Britain, but even independent from themselves as well. Delaware has now become a single entity. New York has now become a singular entity. There are now just the 13. They are what you would recognize as becoming the original 13 states. On June 28, 1776, the first draft of what was become known as the Declaration of Independence is presented before Congress. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 5, pages 491 through 502. In the following days, debate continues on the wording. July 4, 1776, Congress resolves for independence from Great Britain. See the Journals of the Continental Congress, Volume 5, pages 510 through 516. It originally was unanimous with the vote of 12 yes, 0 no, and 1 abstention, but later New York decides to vote in favor to become totally unanimous by all 13, and the official name of the document now becomes the Unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. Notice it says 13. Is that a singular entity?